will want new ways to make decisions for themselves, while no older Australian should be left behind. This goal is implicit in many measures the government has delivered since 2007, lifting the pension rate and lifting super, while lifting the pension age from 65 to 67 between 2017 and 2023, cutting effective tax on older workers who get the pension through the work bonus, broadband for seniors, an amazingly popular grassroots initiative to introduce older Australians to the internet. Almost 100,000 older Australians have used the popular broadband for seniors kiosks. More than a third had never used a computer before, and almost half had never used the internet. It's a very good thing. We're also seeking new ideas. Wayne Swan has appointed an advisory panel on economic potential of senior Australians, on the use of that economic potential. It's chaired by Everald Compton to push along solutions as well as to sell the benefits of seniors to employers, some of them sceptical. The panel will examine how we can best harness the life experiences and intellectual capital of the older members of our community. We need to look at our older Australians as an asset to be valued rather than as a problem to be solved. Next week, I'll release the Productivity Commission's final report on caring for older Australians. We ask the Commission to make recommendations, not with a view to the next 5 years, but the next 20, in one of the important areas that arises from two senior generations, caring for Australians as they age. What I want to emphasise as we begin that debate, not just the debate on the Productivity Commission's report, but the debate about the wider implications of our two senior generations, is the values the government will bring to judging proposals. Choice for each older Australian and security for all older Australians. New opportunities while no one is left behind. And we'll apply some practical principles to new ideas as well. First, older Australians have earned the right to be able to access the care and support that is appropriate to their needs when they need it. Second, our older Australians deserve greater choice and control over their care arrangements than the system currently gives them. And third, funding arrangements for the aged must be fair and they must be sustainable, both for older Australians themselves and for the broader community. I believe we can seize this opportunity of our ageing society, the new reality of the two senior generations, to build choice and security into the lives of every older Australian. I know we can do these things because we've done them before. I think of what Australians did together when we created the aged pension in 1909. The very meaning of ageing, what it meant to be older, changed. Changing how people felt about their own future by offering better standards of living, by offering freedom from want. I think of what Australians did together when we created universal superannuation in the 1980s. The very meaning of ageing changed again, changing how people prepared for their future by offering better standards of living again and by offering new choices as well. And I look forward to the things we will do together in coming years to seize the opportunity of the two senior generations. Years when what it means to age will change. As a generation retires which changed everything it touched, we can be sure that what it means to age will never be the same. Yes, we can also be sure that the values we share will be our guide, just as they've been through the great changes of the past. Opportunity for every older Australian. Choice for every older Australian. Security for every older Australian. And leaving no one behind. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister, warm thanks for lifting our eyes to the far horizon, to outline the reality of the change with ageing, to setting out some of the opportunities involved, but to go the extra step and set out the values and principles along which we should address that change and those opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Prime Minister, thank you very much.
I'm just charged with one warning, which I'm charged with being a bad cop here, and I will keep David honest. We hope to field questions at the end. If those questions are about short-term news issues, we'll take them on notice, but we do hope that we'll get issues and questions that are really long-term and strategic in their focus. And with that, my bad cop role is over. David, please.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Prime Minister, for joining us in conversation today. In your remarks this morning, you've outlined the challenges presented to Australia by an ageing population, and you've asked us to think about those as an opportunity that the country can take advantage of. More broadly, though, does this necessitate for us a rethink of the welfare state as we know it?
Well, certainly, I think we need to rethink welfare, whether or not we're also confronting this challenge of ageing, but there are additional benefits in doing so as we see the two senior generations arise that I've spoken of. I've been very determined as Prime Minister to bring what I call the benefits and dignity of work to Australians who have been locked out of the labour force, and many of the initiatives you saw in the recent budget were about doing just that, using this time of economic growth and opportunity to bring job opportunities to Australians, whether they be people on the disability support pension, people who have been on parenting payment or the long-term unemployed, or people at risk of descent into a life of welfare dependency like teenage mums, bring them into the benefits of work with the training and support that goes with that. Now, that would be a good thing to do, the right thing to do, even if there was no demographic issue about ageing. But it's a particularly meritorious thing to do when we know that we are facing changes in the dependency ratio. So the more Australians we can have working and living productive lives, good thing. That also means the more people that we've got paying tax and obviously sharing what it means to be a country that will offer security and choice to older Australians.
How might your government's response to the Productivity Commission reports on disability and aged care begin to implement some of the thinking that you've outlined here this morning?
Well, we do have two very important reports, and they will shortly be publicly released. One is the Productivity Commission report on ageing I spoke about. The other is the report on disability, and particularly the prospects of an insurance scheme, a national insurance scheme which would move us beyond the current situation where some people are able with an injury to be compensated for that injury because of the circumstances in which it occurs, and others who gain their injury in another way or perhaps born with a disability don't get that sort of treatment. So if you think of the two people with catastrophic spinal injuries, one in a transport accident in Victoria, one from falling off a ladder at home, they are in quite different positions at the moment. So we've got the Productivity Commission work on that to guide what needs to be a national conversation, recognising how profound this change would be and the importance of getting changes right for people with disability. And at the same time, we need to have the national debate about the ageing report. I think there are some themes that tie them together. For me, those themes are about choice and also about making sure that we're leaving no one behind, but helping better empower the people in those circumstances to make the choices that they need to find the services and support they need in their lives.
In your remarks this morning, you also mentioned uncertainty and alluded to the fact that Australia dodged a bullet during the GFC. You could argue that the world dodged a bullet last weekend when the Americans agreed to lift their debt ceiling, but ominous clouds still remain on the world economic horizon with the European sovereign debt situation. How well placed is Australia to withstand a potential second financial shock on the scale